The other day, we just received the most unholy Rent-A-Girlfriend chapter in manga history. It was literally sin incarnate, and needless to say, it created quite a massive stir both within the fanbase and outside of it. For anyone who doesn't know, and this will be getting into spoiler territory, chapter 218 of Rent-A-Girlfriend just dropped the other day, and in that chapter, Kazuya is going down a spiral of despair where he is imagining Umi, the Chad actor boy from previous chapters, basically nailing Chizuru in all different creative positions, and this causes him to basically lose all hope and cry with a boner in a pool. Before we go elbow deep into this sphincter of a show, I just want to clarify, I don't think this chapter tanked the series as a whole. You bet your f***ing ass I hated it, but we all went into this final arc knowing that things were gonna get way worse before they got any better. I thought the chapter where Chizuru said she was still charging Kazuya for the vacation was way more intolerable than a few pages of Umi clapping Chizuru's cheeks. I've seen so many anime and manga series shit themselves and die at the end, but this doesn't really quite feel like it's at that point yet. And I'm still gonna be sticking it through till the end of Rent-A-Girlfriend because, like I said, we all knew it was gonna get way worse before it got any better. I'm pretty sure it'll even get way worse than this, but at this point I've sunk too much of my life into this series to turn back now. If this does turn out to be a Game of Thrones Season 8 type situation, I will eat my Doc Martens, because there's absolutely no way this isn't building up to some kind of immense payoff. Reiji Miyajima has had his finger on our metaphorical prostates ever since Kazuya got halfway through a confession at the beginning of this arc. I can say for 100% fact there's at least going to be some kind of massive payoff in the end. And this is not to say that I'm not upset, because that chapter was so bad I haven't been able to poop since I read it. But it's clearly not over yet, and I know that anyone who consistently reads the manga also knows this. A week ago when someone tweeted out the scans for chapter 218 of Rent-A-Girlfriend, I saw a bunch of people who don't even really read the manga series tweet out about how this is clearly a garbage series after they read the scans. But that kind of frustrated me. I didn't spend 3 months of my life reading through the longest and most inconsequential pool scene to have someone who barely watched the anime tell me that this is a shit show. You have to earn that right. But as someone who reads week after excruciating week, yeah, it's a shit show right now. But clearly me and the thousands of other people that are keeping up with this series keep up with this series for a reason. It's not just because the art style is goated, it's not just because, you know, Sumi is best girl, which is a true fact, that's not even disputable. We read it because there is some actually really fucking good story in it. The movie producer arc is probably one of my favorite arcs in manga history. It doesn't even matter what manga series we're talking about. I just thought it was so well done and fantastic, and yeah, it's slow. All of Rent-A-Girlfriend is slow, but there's a reason we're all reading this still. All that said, this current arc of Rent-A-Girlfriend isn't without its major flaws. 2 flaws in specific. The first being the absolute dog shit pacing, and the second being the terrible character regression. I'm gonna talk about the first problem first because this is a pretty glaring issue. We've spent the last year of our lives at this fucking water park and it's only day 2 of the trip. I don't know what kind of crack Reiji's publishers are smoking, but who the fuck gave him the clear to write 3 chapters of build-off for Chizuru's bathing suit to come undone? Kubo-san was able to do that entire bit in just 1 chapter. If we're going by traditional anime adaptation pacing, that's literally an entire episode of an anime dedicated to Chizuru's bathing suit coming undone. That said, Rent-A-Girlfriend has always been pretty infamous for being the slowest shit on the face of this planet. I feel like the best way to enjoy this series anyway is to binge it like 100 chapters at a time, but unfortunately for everyone who's caught up, you have to wait week after excruciating week. I've said this a few times on Twitter before, but reading Rent-A-Girlfriend is like sticking needles in your eye, but for some reason you keep coming back to it every week. The second problem, though, I feel like is much worse than the pacing issue. The past year of Rent-A-Girlfriend has featured some of the most jarring character regression for both Chizuru and Kazuya that, at this point, most of the fanbase can't stand either of them. Kazuya went from being a self-confident movie-producing Chad to a pathetic, lonely Coomer who can't even look Horizo in the eyes. And seeing Chizuru and insists to Mommy that Kazuya is nothing more than a client a few chapters ago was just such a gut punch. It made it feel like all of the development in the movie arc for their friendship alone just means nothing now. It feels like the only meaningful part of the movie producer's arc that has stuck around since then is just the fact that Chizuru's grandmother died and she's lonely now. That aspect has just been pretty much inexcusably bad. A lot of diehard fans of the series could make a pretty convincing argument that this is all Chizuru's defense mechanism. She pushes people away when they get too close because she's a self-made bad bitch and she doesn't want people to see her weakness. But I think I, and many other people who casually enjoy this series, may think that this might be taking it a step too far. But I think Reiji Miyajima has built up some pretty good trust after a few truly fantastic arcs, and I 100% think that the payoff for this current arc will be worth all the bullshit. At the end of the day, Reiji Miyajima basically spent 217 chapters tricking us into reading an NTR doujin, and for some people that's tolerable and for others that's intolerable. I'm not here to tell you what to think of chapter 218, but I will encourage everyone to at least wait for the payoff before passing your judgment on the series as a whole. Honestly, I think the most inexcusable thing that's happened so far is the fact that we haven't seen Sumi in like a year. She couldn't catch a fucking invite to this. We have literally every character right now. And even though that is fairly inexcusable, at least we have the fantastic Sumi spin-off to hold us over for that, which I did hear is coming back at some point soon, so I'm definitely going to keep my eyes open for that because pretty much the only reason I read this series is for Sumi at this point. That was a joke. I do like this. That's all I really have to say about Chapter 218. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, that's all right. We're all entitled to our own opinions. And honestly, if you want to drop the series after this, I don't blame you. But if you liked the video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate that. It helps me out a lot. Let me know in the comments below who your favorite Rent-A-Girlfriend character is. Clearly mine is Sumi. Part of my 2022 goal is to post more content on my channel, so keep a lookout for that. I want to do a few videos a week. Usually it's going to be about Chainsaw Man or Ayashimon or Demon Slayer or My Hero Academia, any of the manga I read, but every now and then I'll throw in nuggets of rom-coms like Rent-A-Girlfriend or Sono Bisque Doll, so keep an eye out for those too. Follow me on social medias, I will link down to those below, and on that note, I'll see you guys next time.